Hello everyone, welcome to Art Talk Presents, your program brought to you by EPCC Architecture Society. Today I will be interviewing Ms. Martina Lorey, a local architect here in El Paso. Today I will be your host, Michelle Reyes, Secretary of the Architecture Society. Stay tuned and enjoy.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Ms. Martina Lorey.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good.
Okay, so first question will be, who is Ms. Martina Lorey Incorporation?
All right. So let's see. I started practice since 1989, and I left. I had worked prior with a couple of firms in El Paso, and my background was educational facilities, hospital facilities, and it just really wasn't why I wanted to become an architect. And so I had an opportunity to work on a home for a doctor. She had lost her house in a fire. So with that, I started my own practice. And I just, took that project, worked out of my house, and I can't imagine what I was thinking. I thought that, I was on my way to having this really great practice, and it was just so much work. So I built that house, and then more projects just started coming in. So that's what I've been doing for a long time.
What has been your most successful work and/or accomplishment?
I'd have to say having a son and raising him. Outside of architecture, that's been the best project that I've ever done. But I'm focused on residential work, and I love it because it's very personal, and I just feel like doing residential work, I'm able to impact families and their lives and neighborhoods, and it's a very great way to have a close working relationship with the people that are going to build it and the people that are going to use it. And so I would have to say I love all my projects, although I've had some terrible ones too. But I'm always fondest of my last project that I finished. So yeah.
What are some features that are notable in your work that you do? Meaning like the style, or what's like something that you always incorporate into your work?
So I would have to say the most consistent thing that happens in my work is that I don't necessarily have a style. The work that I do is specifically for the client, and what is very important is always being connected to the site and the context of the project, and working closely with the client's needs. So it's always changing. I don't know that anyone could say, oh, that looks like a Martina Lorey project, except that it's exceptionally well built. We've always prided ourselves on doing beautiful details and using natural and authentic materials. That's critical for us, and building something that embraces the surroundings, the site, what's unique about the site, whether it's a mountain or it's in the valley or tucked into a neighborhood. How do we respond to nature and the site? So I think that is a very consistent thing that happens for us. And then always the choice of authentic materials and the use of materials and good detailing.
What were some of the challenges that you have faced in your career as an architect or as an entrepreneur?
It's, I'd say, and I say this very honestly, the biggest challenge, I think, for a lot of architects is to realize the value that we have for the work that we do. It's all too easy, especially Instagram and social media and television. It's all too easy for people to have the impression that, they can just, grab these images and put together something that, they think is a design solution. And so I think just realizing and getting very clear about the value an architect brings to a project was one of the biggest things that I accomplished. And I don't know why that was so hard, but once I got there and I realized that I was the team leader and what I said mattered, that was a pivotal moment. What challenges do you face as an architecture student? What are you seeing coming at you?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't know that I really wanted to become like an architect, since I still was pretty undecisive. And I don't know, when I started college, or EPCC, I took one class which was technology of architecture, something like that, and it was with Mr. Moreno, and it was like my first ever architecture class, and I just felt like the way that he taught it was like it's something that I really connected with, knowing that my dad has been working in the construction industry, and I've been interested in that too. So when Mr. Moreno was giving us the lectures and the workbook, I just thought that it was like it was just fascinating to me, knowing that a person has the abilities to create something that it's unique, and two, it's like eye-opening to many people. And so after that, I just decided to start taking architecture, and basically I've been taking all of my classes or my studio classes with Professor Moreno, and it's just been like eye-opening on how people can have an idea and just start creating it. And obviously, like, we have some fails and some success, but then again, it's what got you there that gets to me, about like how each building has like their own little story on how it was designed and created for either that person or that corporation. So that's what's getting me into becoming an architect. I've always been interested in construction, but then again, being not just able to be out there helping, but just being able to create something that many people will look afterwards. Like you said, like a house. I know there's people that switch homes or buy them.
Yeah.
And if you develop a home, if you create your own home, like at your own pace, then that's basically like your dream home, like your dream sanctuary. But yeah, like I've always been fascinating about that, of helping people, creating like a goal for them.
Yeah, I get it. It's just, that is what's really shaped my career, is the thrill of working with people and families and entire families, and really understanding how they live and what their daily life is like, and creating a place where that makes for better living. And it's just subtle things in the design of a home. If you think just about the functional things, you can design a home in such a way that minimizes family conflicts. just by placement of doors and private areas and bathrooms and that kind of thing. So we have the ability to really influence how people live and make for happier living, better quality of life for families. And then the impact of our decisions, our design decisions are so important too, because everything that we build has an imprint and an impact. And that's not something that we should take lightly, right? It's a big responsibility. And what I find so wonderful about this, about architecture, I spend a lot of time out in the field also. So I wear many hats in my firm. I do paperwork, I design, develop construction documents, work throughout the process of bidding and procurement and construction. And, you get to know people out in the work, out in the field, and you start to understand that the decisions that I made about certain materials and the ability to put them together and the end result, it matters. I recently designed a home that had a stone veneer, and each of those stones were 200 pounds. And so I got a lot of feedback on how sore and tired the stonemasons were at the end of every day. And it just kind of made me think, well, how could I have done that differently? And I don't know, it's just, to me, I think this is the most interesting profession anyone could ever step into, because it's always changing. The technology is different, the client is different, the set of constraints and problems are different with each project. It's beyond fascinating. I've never thought, oh, this is boring, I need to get out. I'm always ready for that next challenge. What can we do next? It's very interesting.
Was the idea of opening a firm always in mind in your early career, or was it a product of the year of hard work?
So it was always on my mind. I had the great good fortune of going to work for an architecture firm my first day out of high school. And so I was working in a time when people used drafting pencils and pens and stuff like that. So I was in a big drafting room with just a bunch of men, and I was typically the only female. I can't remember working with another female ever. And it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to do my own thing, because I can remember feeling like we should be doing this better. And there was always a reason why we couldn't do it better. And I thought, I'm going to start my own firm, and I'm always going to advocate for doing things better. And that's what inspired me and pushed me. And I had a startup, and then it didn't go so well. And then I went back to work for another firm. And I spent 7 years there learning a lot. I had a great mentor, and just tremendous mentor. His name is Bert Mijares. And after 7 years, I felt like I was really ready to go out and start my own. And I did, and I never looked back after that. But yeah, it was always my intention. I think I'm just very independent like that. And sometimes I wonder what it'd be like to have a real job. I've jokingly said, I've been unemployed for years, but because there is definitely something, exhilarating about having to make all the ends meet when you have your own firm. It'll definitely keep you at the office late.
How does it feel to be a figure in a highly male-led industry?
I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like there's so many great women coming into architecture. I did feel that way for many years. I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I was the second registered female architect in El Paso, and the first one was Mabel Welch, and I think I was the second one, and it was very, very lonely. And I was absolutely thrilled when Julie Herrera became a licensed architect, and I had, another female, and more and more women started coming into the field, and I think that women make amazing architects. I think we're much better than men. We are good listeners. We are great problem solvers. And that's what it takes to be a good architect. You've got to listen, and you have to read between the lines, and you really have to understand what is being said and what is being intended, and being very clear and thorough. And I think that women are able to manage a huge amount of problem solving at one time. I think we're gifted like that. And I think we're just very sensitive, and I feel like we're meant to do this work.
Yeah, I also feel like that, even though I'm still like in architecture school at EPCC. Throughout my studio classes, there's only been myself included and about 2 or 3 more females, and basically the majority of the architecture students are male. And at first, when I was first taking my first studio class, I did doubt a little bit out, since basically everyone was a male. But then again, as the classes started, I felt more confident about like me working there, because I felt that, like you said, like I could, if I put more work, I could read between the lines and actually know what Mr. Moreno was asking of us for the project. And it's just more, I don't know, like I feel more in place. Not that I feel more confident being in like the architecture classes, knowing that there's more students or more female students there.
Yeah, I feel like women have a greater intuition. We have a better. I think we have a really great way of listening. And I will say this: for all the years that I was the only woman, I had the benefit of a very wise mother, and her words to me were just ignore the limitations. Just flip the switch and proceed as though the limit. Great advice, because if you think that there are limits, there will be. They'll show up. But just go about your life and your profession and your interests and your studies and your practice and your work, with the intention of no limits, because really we place our own limits on ourselves. And I remember in high school, I told my counselor that I wanted to be an architect, and she said, "Girls can't be architects." And and I just thought, well, that's all I needed to hear. I'll show you. And I remember there was a very well-known firm in El Paso named Garland and Hillis, and one of the principals, they did really well, and he was definitely of that Mad Men era. And I remember he came up to me and he said, "Girls can't be architects." I said, "Yes, they can," a long time ago. And I just never took no for an answer. I thought, what do you know? I'll just follow my passion here.
What is your favorite thing about being an architect?
Oh, my favorite thing about being an architect is that every day is interesting. There are a new set of challenges, and I get to make things. I get to create things. I get to see how my work makes a positive impact on the people that I work for.
What motivates you to work hard in this industry?
What can we do next? What's the next big idea? I'm always looking, as I'm sure you are too. I mean, I feel like as architects, we are curious about many things and always looking around ourselves to see how we could change things, how we could make it better, how we can impact our environment. That's it.
And last question, what is the definition of success to you?
Well, it certainly isn't money, although I like money and I like paying my bills and having things. But the definition of success is the joy of building a project that is beautiful and functional and it makes other people happy, and that is the definition of success. And then, of course, there's wonderful people that I work with. Also, I have relationships with all kinds of, all of the people that help us do this work, because no one works by themselves, right? It takes a whole team. And I think that I've had successful relationships with our engineers, drafters, intern architects, tradespeople for decades. And, that really makes me feel happy. And when I see someone that I've worked with in the past come onto the job site and they're there to give their gift of, their skill and their trade, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And I feel like that's a huge success, are all the relationships that have happened over my lifetime of working. I can't imagine how boring it would be had it happened another way. I can't imagine working in an office doing, accounting work. How uninspiring. It's just, great to have that opportunity to develop all of these relationships over a lifetime.
And that was my last question for today's interview.
Okay, well, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it, and be well, and I look forward to hearing from you.
This concludes our program. Thank you for listening to Arch Talk Presents, brought to you by EPCC Architecture Society, an interview with Martina Lorey. This is your host, Michelle Reyes. Till next time, thank you.